The tool set method is the best method. No bro, you're wrong. No bro, you just have to do 20 million sets per exercise and train to failure once per year. Everyone's saying something different. Ian Barsegal says something different. Calisthenics athletes say something different. Like bodybuilders, powerlifters, everyone's saying something different. Who do you trust? And why should you trust them? Hey bro, I'm Orpheus. I'm a 15-year-old street lifter and calisthenics athlete. As of now, I can squat 110 kilos, I can dip 40 kilos for 4 reps, and I can pull up 30 kilos for 4 reps. I have to get that YouTube stuff out of the way so I can entertain the algorithm, but let's get right into the info. Here's why easy weeks are important, right? Let's look into the most similar sports to calisthenics and street lifting. That is gymnastics and powerlifting. In their training, easy weeks and heavier weeks, right? The variety of those is very important. They call those periodization. And this is very important because your body needs to conserve resources, right? It wasn't built to just adapt, build muscle, right? So what it wants to do is just make everything easy for itself. So it gets better at doing the movement. It gets better at 3x5 if you train 3x5. It gets better if you train 3x20 if you train that. So it'll always adapt and it'll effectively become lazier at what it's doing. It'll put less work into that because it'll learn the movement and just make it easier for itself. So we basically need to prioritize these easy weeks because we have the hard weeks, right? If you're only training easy weeks, that's not good because you need the variety. That's what's important. If you want a more in-depth guide where I don't only talk about this in a video, but there are tables included and text and all these things, you can find my Weightisthenics community below where I talk about how to periodize your training, which is what this video is about, and how to deload and all these different things that I'll talk about in this video. So check that out if you don't want to go through this YouTube video BS and just have to go straight to the information. So easy weeks are important because of this contrast with the hard weeks, right? So your body doesn't stall and adapt just to one. So how do we actually program these in? What we do is we'll have a couple of easier weeks and a couple of harder weeks. What you're gonna do, first off, what you need to know is RPE, rate of perceived exertion. This is a scale from 1 to 10 and shows how hard you push the set. RPE 10 meaning 0 reps in reserve, RPE 8 meaning 2 reps in reserve, 6, 4 reps in reserve, you get the point. It's like RIR, reps in reserve. If you know what I'm talking about, you do. Anyways, we're gonna vary the RPE in weeks, right? So 1 week is gonna be week 1 is gonna be RPE 7, right? Your average is gonna be RPE 7. You can have maybe 1 RPE 8. You can have 1 RPE 6, but your average should be RPE 7, just to make it easy, right? And you're gonna be training higher volume because with easier weeks comes higher volume. You cannot train easy and also have lower reps. You should usually train easy and higher reps just to get that hypertrophy, right? So we do, let's say, RP 7, and then we do 4x8, okay? And then after that, we'll add some other sets, but that's the main sets, right? Then your second week will be a semi-easy week, where what you're gonna do is essentially RPE 8, maybe even 9. But usually you're in the average of RPE 8. It can be maybe one set of 9, maybe one set of RPE 8, but in general, you're gonna be in 8, sorry. And what you're gonna be doing is the common rep schemes are gonna be 4x4, 3x5, 3x6. Just choose one of those, whichever you like, honestly. And then you're gonna have a difficult week where what you're gonna do is you're gonna do a difficult week. Maybe that's how you're training right now. You're probably training right now if you're watching this video because other people wouldn't be watching this video. What you're gonna do for this week is basically train to failure, right? Not to failure, actually, RPE 10, which means you could not have done another rep. So you train average RPE 10, but some RPE 9s, and maybe 1 RPE 8. But usually you're in the RPE 10 to 9 range. At this time, in this week, you're gonna be doing 3x3s, 3x4s, 3x2s. Just pick whichever one you want again, and use whichever one that is. So we have this structure laid out. Next, we're gonna be adding some back-offs, right, to accumulate volume. Back-off sets are just easy sets after these top sets. Some examples of this are 2x10, 2x8, 2x6, 2x7, 2x5. You can use any of these, just have it a couple more reps than your top set. So let's say you did 3x5, you'll probably choose 2x7, right? It's usually just 2 sets, and then you choose, let's say, maybe like 2 to 6 reps more than your top set. Then you have your support exercise. A support exercise is just like an exercise which complements that main movement that you were doing, but isn't actually the main movement. So you can pick, like, you need to have 2 exercises per day. So per movement, sorry. What you're gonna be doing is like pick an part of the movement which you're bad at. So that could be, for example, the top part of the pull-up, the top part of the dip, the bottom part of the squat, whatever that is, and find an exercise which biases that movement. Usually it's just spending more time in that movement. So that could be doing 1 normal pull-up and then doing 1 half top, like top half pull-up. That could be like pausing in the bottom of the squat. That could be like doing an extra like deep squat, then going back up. So you can like do this however you want. And then comes your second support exercise, where you're gonna be doing a different movement, right? Different movement that uses the same muscles. So that could be, for example, training bench for dips, right? That's a support exercise. Or training Romanian deadlifts for squats. That's also a support exercise. So you're gonna pick one of those, or you can do an isolation. It's completely up to you. I usually prefer the first one though. And then for the sets times reps, just one of the 2 supports is gonna be 3 sets. One of the 2 supports is gonna be 2 sets. If you're in your, if you're in like the peak week, right? In the 3rd week that I talked about, the difficult week, what you're gonna be doing is just like you're gonna be doing 2 sets of everything, let's say. So you're gonna do 2 sets of back off, 2 sets of the first support, and 2 sets of the second support. So the volume is gonna be low, right? 2-set method, but the volume is gonna be low, and you just work more on the intensity on that week. But on the first week, you obviously want more volume. So what you'll do is you'll do like 2 sets of back off, then 3 sets of a support exercise, then maybe 4 sets of the next support exercise, and maybe even adding some like extra isolation for some like stability muscles, like the side delts or like the abs, or it could really be anything. So we're done in programming them, right? But we need to have some even easier weeks than those, because we're talking about easy weeks, right? But we need some even easier weeks, actually. You do not know how much of a toll your body is taking until you take some of these easy weeks. What these easy weeks are called are deloads. What deloads mean are just a week where you focus on like regenerating your body, regenerating from your fatigue and all these different things. Because your body accumulates fatigue in your nervous system and your muscles and your mind and all these things. And you have to get rid of that fatigue. And you don't do that just by training easy. Yes, that can help, but you do need actual deloads, like times dedicated just for this. How you do this is by training at RPE 5 to 6. That is 4 to 5 reps in reserve. That is a like super easy week, right? And you essentially cut all the supports that we talked about. No, maybe you leave one support, but you cut the back off and you cut the second support. So you just have, and then for your top sets, you do like 3x6, RPE 6. Then for the first support, you just do like maybe 2x8 or 2x7 or 2x10, like whatever like you enjoy. I personally always struggled with training too hard. It sounds like a good struggle to have, right? But the problem with this is you just overtrain yourself. And you could be getting more gains by just training easier, right? And I didn't know about this in the beginning, and if only I had somewhere to learn. But I made that place to learn, so people like my old self, that's probably you, could join that place. That is Weightisthenics. That is the community below, where I explain all these things in detail for free. And you can achieve a 150 kilo pull-up, dip, and squat total, putting you way ahead of everyone else in your physique, in your strength, in your like transferability to other skills and sports. It was honestly such a hard time for me. I had months of like plateaus, and it was like kind of sad because I was training hard, but I didn't know what I was doing wrong at all. If only I had this community, I would have probably been like way ahead of where I am now. And I do regret that, but I don't want you to regret that. So I made this community. Check out Way2Stunx below and access the 150 kg blueprint today for free. So check that out and see you, bro. Keep overloading.